All right, it's episode 101, and we have Chris ILABACA and Chris Thompson on the podcast. Enter the Breach is coming out in just under a couple of days, so anticipating this project. Obviously, with the lineal magic of parkour in the UK that exists with the Breach brand, it's always exciting to see when they put something out, and it's again always exciting when someone in the parkour community wants to put out a paid film and really elevate us to another level of production. So we had an awesome little chat. I hope you guys enjoy it. Have a listen. Welcome both the Chris's here to grace the podcast and let us know about the upcoming film, Enter the Breach. I'm so excited. So you were just kind of like talking about how did this come to be and what landed you guys into this now breaching for the first time post-pandemic, the first like big project to come out really in the community. So I'd love to hear the story.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a minute, to be fair. I'm going to just jump straight in, and then I'll obviously introduce Chris and sort of explain the role that he's took on. So for me, doing this sort of a long form thing, as a long form piece, has always been a dream of mine to do ever since I was a young kid. I remember saving up all my pocket money and buying a skate DVD. Well, it wasn't a skate DVD, it was a skate VHS. Yes, I'm that old. And it was about £18, which is, it was quite a lot of money at that particular time. I'd saved up all my pocket money. I went and bought it, and me, Danny, my older brother Nathan, just watched that thing religiously over and over and over again. We must have watched it for about 2 years straight, just like so much inspiration. And it was literally a compilation of our favorite skaters from all over the US, because that's where the scene was like the strongest back in the 90s. And that's kind of what inspired me in the very beginning when Daniel started doing parkour, to pick up a camera in the first place. It had those images of those guys on their skates and the guys out with them filming and making that effort. And back then I could see the stuff Daniel was doing, and I could see the stuff from the people that were in the media and in the public eye. And I was like, wait, Daniel's so much better. I was like, Dad, get me a camera. I need to go and film Danny. And that's where it begun. And for me, doing a long form piece has always been part of in my mind to do it. It's always been a dream of mine to do it. And obviously I took that moment where I stepped back away from the community. I think we spoke about it last time on the podcast, and I sort of, after my dad passed away, it just gave me this passion just to, what I've always been in and around, and I need to do something. I need to throw myself back into it. I've still got more to offer. And just through the years of working with Breach and getting to know the newer athletes and reconnecting with the community, just put me in a really, really good place, a really, really good spot where when I decided this is something that I wanted to do, people just believed in it and believed in me, and just thought, you know what, I want to get involved in that project. And from the get-go, people were just jumping on board, and we planned to do it in 2019, and it just sort of fallen through. I think we originally were going to go over to the Netherlands and do something over in Eindhoven and Amsterdam, and maybe branch out from there and see where it could take us. But then that sort of fell through. It sort of fizzled out a little bit, and then we planned to do it in 2020. I'm sure a lot of people plan to do things in 2020, and obviously we know what happened there. Don't need to talk about it because everybody knows what's gone on there. But it was sort of just coming out of the first lockdown. So here in the UK, things had started to ease. We were really blessed with like good weather all the way through the summer. So it seemed like things had started to get more relaxed. We were still in a lockdown as such. So I had a few messages off a few people saying this is the wrong thing to do. You shouldn't be doing this. But I'm just like, well, you know what I mean? It's been a dream to do it. We're going to limit the numbers. We're not going to tell anyone where we're going. We're not going to allow people to come and join us. We're going to stay in a tight-knit group, 2 vans, accommodation, all of us staying together. So you'll obviously learn about it in the film, a little bit more about the story. So I won't go too deeply into it. But Chris, the guy I don't know whether you can see him on screen now, but the guy that I'm going to introduce you to is a long-term friend of mine who we've worked on projects and things in the past. And as soon as the idea to do this long-form piece came to mind and into becoming a reality, he was the first guy that I wanted to contact, because I have full belief in what this man's capable of. And this guy, believe me, man, like, has been an absolute trooper through this whole thing, man. Like, big him up enough. There's going to be some people who will already know Chris in the community, but get over to Chris so he can explain a little bit about how he ended up getting on board. Well, I probably dragged him in, to be fair.
Yeah, no, Chris, you just start speaking and the video will go to you. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no, not at all. Like, I'm actually in front of the edit now, and I'm waiting for like end credit scene, which is going to take an hour. So time to actually kill some time and obviously share the story as well. So yeah, no, thanks for having me on board. I think I was actually, can't remember what had happened. I think the team that were going to shoot, I think like Europe, I wasn't going to do Europe, and then obviously we planned to do the UK tour. And I think I got shouted out maybe a month before it went on, so I was quite late to the group. But then, yeah, the second I heard about it, I was like, yeah, definitely on board. And I think I did have quite a big influence in trying to turn it into something that could be very watchable, or something that I would deem being worth paying for. But yeah, that's pretty much my yeah.
Yeah, I would love to hear like what kind of criteria did you think about when you were doing that, and then what's your background? I guess like why were you? How did Chris know to call you when it came to helping like produce this?
So I think I first picked up a camera filming parkour maybe like 15 years ago, and I had like a really basic YouTube channel, yada yada, and then I've kind of been working like 7 or 8 years sort of commercially.
Oh, okay.
Like film work. And then it was actually like the Breach launch film that Chris got me on originally, I think.
Okay.
That was it, wasn't it, Chris? When was that, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, it was about 4 years ago now, yeah.
Yeah, and we all just kind of like jammed together, made a film. So yeah, maybe was that it, Chris? I don't actually know what.
Pretty much, yeah, because I just remember obviously Will Sutton was in charge of like the edit and obviously like the direction in which it was going. Well, I remember that you'd come along a couple of days and you'd filmed like these little things that I wouldn't have even thought of. Just these little, I don't know how to explain it. It was like little shorts, and it was like showing like the functionality of some of the items of the clothing. And I think it was like the phone zip pocket that we had inside the hoodie and things like that. And you come up with a cool way of how to introduce that. But it was just a quick turnaround on things as well. And I think you did like an alternative edit as well. Which completely was obviously a surprise to me. And when I saw that, I was just like, well, this is sick, man, you know what I mean? But obviously we'd known of each other through the community and things like that prior to working together. But yeah, Chris was just the guy, I could just see his passion and commitment for doing this sort of things. And obviously he'd expressed during the filming of the Breach stuff that this is the sort of stuff that he wanted to do more of. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Before Chris, obviously, I'd already spoken to Hector Pitt, formerly of Brewman, and he'd obviously come on board and said he was down for filming and things like this. But as soon as Chris said he was on board, I was so happy, because I knew that he was gonna give so much more shape to what it was that we were doing. Like he said then about making it more watchable. I think those first interactions that we had between myself, Chris, and Hector, I think Hector had this vision in his mind that we were just going to do a 20-minute action sequence, and then I think within a few minutes, I think Hector realized what was going on. that me and Chris has had this vision, that strong vision that we needed to make it a long form piece, and I think that's probably when Hector's head fell off a little bit. But you know what I mean? He still stuck with us. He came on the tour. And Hector's kind of responsible for smashing out the action edits. Like Chris said, Chris is the one who's put all the glue and pulled all those pieces together. And I just think it's a really good, like a mold of all different styles. And yeah, I just can't wait to show people, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it, man. I know a little bit about what goes into making a project like this, and it's no matter how much you've estimated, it's more than that, you know. Like,
oh yeah,
and it's just like, so, and especially that element that you're talking about, really like giving it a storyline and giving it like continuity and suspense, and just like that arc that, you know, makes something really like sit with you and stay with you. It's not an easy feat, and so I don't know how you guys actually did that, especially even like getting it all the way turned around, like, and it coming out, you know, in 2 days. So for it to be turned around that fast as well. I mean, usually people try to put it out that fast and then it comes out 2 years after. So can you tell us anything about how this process was achieved? And then like, is there, you know,
I think it's a funny one really, and there's so many tales in there. And like me and Chris had a quick chat before we jumped in this call, and there was some things we were like, we're not going to talk about that, we're not going to mention that. So there's obviously some things that we can't really talk about. But I think for me, and like I'm still surprised that like Chris is still my friend after all of this, because I've literally been the one who's just like pushing and pushing and pushing. And Chris is like, yeah, I've got like this job and I need to do this and I need to. I'm like, I understand, man, but I really want it out for this day. And so originally I'd had these, you know, I'm the dreamer. That's basically my role. I've called myself the producer because I'm the guy that's just pulled everybody in and made this thing happen. I've just been the driving force behind it. And in some senses, that's probably why I've probably come to annoy absolutely everybody that's had the part in it. But do you know what I mean? Like in my mind, I was like, we're going to get this out. We'll finish in August. We'll get it out for Christmas. Push, push, push. And only last night, we were talking about, we've been trying to release something every day just to try and keep that hype going and keep people engaged with what we're doing. Because obviously we want as many people as possible to buy the thing to enable us to do these projects more often. And you know, obviously to grow this culture. And we were speaking last night, and Chris was just going through some of his old videos on his Vimeo channel, and he just commented on how he had stuff from September last year, and he was just like, whoa, I actually had this whole section ready, like, you know, ready. It was like good, and these are like big chunks of the movie, and wow. That's the sort of guy Chris is. Like once he gets his head focused, he's just laser like focus, and he just gets it done. So obviously we've had some delays, let's be honest. It probably could have been out sooner. And I've literally, this is another reason why I'm grateful for Chris for being involved in the project, because he's been able to put the leash on me a little bit, because obviously I'm like, let's get it out. And I think the key thing really, something that Chris kept saying is, let's not rush this. And you know what? I'm glad we haven't. And to be fair, I think Chris would probably say we've rushed it. And I know there's been many nights where Chris has stayed really, really late in his office, just slaying away on these edits. But you know, we're just over a year now since we arrived back from doing the tour. So yeah, I think we've done an all right turnaround, and I think we've done a good job as well about how to get people back engaged and back involved. I think having Toby jump on the edit for the trailer was a big one, obviously, because he's obviously renowned in the community, and he's just finished the capstone trailer and stuff like that, and the hype that generated. So he was definitely the right man for the job, and I had no doubt that he was going to smash it, and indeed he did, because that video, the most recent trailer, has blown up. Like, and I think we've had all sorts of people messaging us saying, when's it out? Where's it going to be? All this, man. So a lot of hype around it for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's incredible. I was going to ask, like, what in Chris Thompson, your mind, is it Thompson? Sorry. What is that, like, some of those delineating factors that make something like cross that threshold into something you'd pay for, or that you would feel good about asking money for? Because, you know, there is sort of just a different framework when you're like, you know, this is like, I want people to watch it, and then this is going to, you know, be an exchange of people's hard-earned cash, and we know that they're going to want to watch it, and it does put it on a different tier. So I'm just curious how you think about that. And
yeah, of course. I think Phil Doyle actually said this on the trip, because it's like 10 guys going on a parkour tour, like, isn't really a story. It's not really like a film. You kind of have to make something out of that. And I felt in order to make this more watchable, you had to make it 3D by, you know, the film has got a lot of animation in it and some stories that we've drawn. And I don't know, I think I'm quite critical. If I'm going to pay money towards something, I want it to be something more than what you'd find on YouTube or Instagram, like whether it's by the length of it or by the style of content that's used.
Yeah. And also, like, you guys kept this pretty well under wraps as well. Like, I mean, I pay attention. I'm not like super involved in like, scrolling through everyone that's involved in Instagram, but pretty much everyone in the project I'm following, and I didn't really hear about it until you guys announced. So was there like a pretty good like policy on keeping this hushed, and beneath the radar until it was ready? Because I don't know how I didn't catch wind of it, honestly, or like know that some of these things were happening back when the
Yeah,
tour was happening.
we told the athletes to like not post any clips and just kind of keep like hush. Obviously, when we told everyone that the film's coming out in Christmas, and found out that maybe like less than 10% of the film been done by Christmas, like some of the athletes obviously got agitated because it's got some of the best clips they've ever got.
Oh yeah.
And, you've got a gallery and you're constantly trying to keep your Instagram updated. So I think a couple slipped, but that's kind of how we kept it under wraps. We just like don't share anything.
Yeah. No,
yeah, we've had a group chat going as well. So every now and then we'll get someone will be like, "Where are we at? Where's the film? Like, how long is it going to be?" And I think the guys are just itching to sort of. I think they're just proud of what they did in that short space of time, and I think they're just keen to show the world. And obviously, how the medium of media is right now. It's so instant, and I think it's been a hard one for each of the guys, some more than others, to hold back on some of those clips. So fair play to the boys for keeping those ones tight, for sure.
It is definitely hard, especially as the level of technical and just the progression of what's possible in movement it just keeps unfolding at an exponential level that it just feels like, oh my God, like it's just going to be, some of the stuff by the time it comes out, it's sometimes like doesn't have the same impact that you wanted it to have or that it had in the moment. But but I think what's interesting about all that is that, in because of that progression, actually, like the storylines and the stuff that's kind of in between the action ends up being the most memorable stuff from all the films that, we produce in our community and otherwise, just, I mean, I love the action edits. Don't get me wrong. And I love, some of those big challenges that are iconic. And I'm sure there's some in this film. And at the same time, what kept me going back to rewatch these films is always like the in between, the story, just the little details that like go into to that process.
That's it. I think it's just getting to know the athletes as well, because everything is so short and punchy on Instagram and YouTube. You don't really get to know the individuals, and I think that's something that we would not have had the same impact if we didn't have Chris, because he just had that vision from the beginning of how's this going to look on the back end when it's done, like how are we going to achieve what we want to achieve. And we had Daniel and Hector with us, who obviously amazing filmmakers, amazing camera guys and stuff, but I think they're in the habit of, okay, go, okay, stop. So we had those guys, but we had Chris, who was just rolling. And I think that's what made the difference. And obviously he brought along his wireless mics and was just like beating the drum every single day to me, like, Chris, we need to get these interviews. So, if we didn't have that, like Chris's foresight into how this is going to be a finished product, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So Chris, legend. And yeah, we've managed to get so much personality in there. There's some really, really comical moments and stuff like that we just can't wait people to. There's going to be plenty of laugh out loud moments and stuff, which is what we wanted. We didn't want it to just be in your face action, and believe me, we've got that. We wanted it to be a little bit more. We wanted a bit more breaking down of the jumps and just a bit more of getting to know the guys as well, and trying to understand them and what they do for a living and things like that. So we had conversations around their work and what they do for money in parkour and stuff like this. So Chris had thought out a bunch of questions really, really, really well, and managed to pull some great insight out of the guys. So I'm excited for that sort of stuff to get across to the audience as well, for sure, man.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's going to be my favorite stuff, I think, probably to watch, because I just love in the philosophy, the motivations, whatever it is, the driving force behind each of these people. And then you can see how that is reflected in some of their movement. And that's some of the most interesting and just rich material to enjoy.
Sure, man.
how much of the pandemic and like emerging from, you know, like all these lockdowns and whatever, I mean, maybe this is, you know, let me know if I'm ever stepping onto
No,
something
go
that
for
you
it.
don't want to talk about and you want to let people discover in the film, but how much of that was affecting like the environment? Because it's so interesting to see like how these are such snapshots of the time, you know, that they
Yeah.
recorded in.
So
And that was such a
it was
crazy
funny.
time, you know?
Yeah, it was funny, wasn't it, Chris? Because really, I don't know. Like up until we went on the tour, I think because we'd started in was it late July or was it early August? I can't even remember. Obviously, it was like a year ago now, but it was either late July or the beginning of August when we started. And at that point, I'd obviously, me personally, I'd started to be a bit more like, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? Like people aren't getting sick, and it doesn't seem. I didn't know anyone personally that was. So I'd started to feel a little bit more relaxed. I think in the UK, because it was towards the back end of the lockdown, and people thought they'd done enough. Because in the UK, I mean, I don't know what it was like in the US, and for us in the UK, there was a period of time where everyone was just indoors. We didn't leave the house, so we felt like we'd done enough at that point. So I think there was obviously a little bit of reluctancy. Should we do this? Should we not do this? But I think at that particular time, it just felt like things were returning back to normal. And as long as we kept numbers down and we didn't tell people where we were going to be and have people joining us and things like that, then really we should have next to no impact on the environment around us. But I don't know about Chris, but for me, as soon as we got going on the tour, it just felt like we were back to normal again. I felt like there wasn't even, didn't feel like there was a pandemic, didn't feel like anything was going on at all, to be perfectly honest with you.
Oh, wow.
Which was nice in some sense, because it meant that we were able to just focus on what we were doing.
Yeah, Chris, do you want to chime in? Let us know.
Yeah. I think it was like the athletes, in particular, it was like caged animals that you just like and just let them out just to do whatever they want. So I think the day one was meant to be our like settling in day, where we weren't really meant, like we were going to get a bit of footage, but it was more like, you know, let's ease into it. Let's just try and build a relationship with everyone. Like next day we're shooting. We like meet up at the first spot and we're like, bam, in Liverpool. Before we know it, we've got like guys jumping everywhere, like Ed Scott doing side prees. We've got like the Liverpool locals like throwing water bottles out of their cars, guys doing like it just started like, and then literally from that point it was like, you know, foot, you know, to the pedal, and it was just like a million miles an hour. Like we didn't actually, like every day it'd be like we'd be out at maybe 11, we try and hit the roads, and then we wouldn't be back till like 9, 10 most nights, because we've just been out shooting the whole time. Do you know what, it sounds pretty intense, but like I wouldn't change it for the world. Like
yeah,
you know,
it was a hell of an experience.
Yeah, and the relationships I've built with these guys now, you know, it's so good. And that's something, because I sort of stepped out of the world for about 5 or 6 years, and I think, you know, sleeping on your friend's couch or whatever, you go training for a week and you get to just be around people for such a long amount of time, or like 24 hours, training, sleeping, everything. I don't know, the kind of friendship and the stories you build in those times, like the most memorable. So yeah, that's what really hit home to me, like what I'd missed in parkour. And I think that's why making this is so special to me now, because I think parkour, without realizing it, gave me so much now. Like my whole career, filming, steered like so many things in my life. So I think when Chris originally put me on this, I was like, look, this is just my like token back to the parkour world. Because, you know, it's given me so much. So if this film encourages other teams to go out and do the same thing and create this parkour money ecosystem that we want so bad, then then it's a win for me. Then I'm happy, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
There's no denying, like those tours, like I've been on a few short tours and a long tour in my life, and that is easily like, yeah, I mean, there's just nothing to say. It's just like, that's the highest value, I think, experience that tends to come out of some of my, you know, relationship to the community as well. As just going on tour. There's something about it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But just
I think
dedicating
it's like
yourself.
that. It's that camaraderie as well that
Yeah.
you build up between each other, especially I think obviously you came to the UK, didn't you, on one of the tours that you did with you guys? And I think when you're out of your comfort zone and you're in an area you don't know, you tend to just bond together really well with those people. And I think that was something that was just really nice about that particular group of people that we went with, is that everybody had an understanding of what the goal was. And obviously we had some heavy hitters. And having people like Ed Scott, like, I think it's something that comes out and it's translated in the film, just like what an absolute monster that guy is. Like it's honestly just unreal, like his work rate. Again, I don't want to, there's so much I'm trying to hold back because the stuff that gets spoken about in the film, but like that guy's on another level, man. And I think literally every single other athlete was just like, so for this guy, what's up with him? But we go into it a little bit when we do ask Ed, and he does open up a little bit about, and he tries to give an explanation as to how he was able to maintain such a high level for such a long period of time. So I won't give any secrets away, but it's basically just wizardry. That's the only way to describe it. Just classic wizardry.
Oh man, yeah, it is crazy, like to see like some people, like the cream of the crop is what I like used to joke with our friend Dante about, and it's just like they're all cream of the crop, but then sometimes there's just like even more, just like what is going on. There's like somebody who feeds off that energy like extra, and there's some just really inspirational figures that just inspire even the inspiring. So, and Ed's definitely one of those folks.
And that was the key thing for me as well, was I've just, you see all the projects that have come before this one, it's always been like an individual team or like an individual affiliation or whatever. But the thing for me was like, when I think of the old skate videos that I used to watch, it was literally just the best of the best. They just get all the best guys together and film and see what happens. And I think that's what's different about this one, is we weren't restricted to, okay, we're only going to have people that are in breach, or we're only going to have people that are in motorists. We just said, no, forget that. And obviously it was invite only. So we invited each individual person. And I really, in my mind, I thought it through. It was like I was building like an all-star cast and making sure that I had.
Yeah, it's like an ensemble. It's the first parkour ensemble film.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Man, literally. And that's why we ended up going with like the Avengers style movie poster as well, because it was like, like in my mind, I was like, right, we've got Joe, he's doing the descents, like the nasty little movements that he's doing. You got Ed, he's just like a powerhouse, just tricking monster. Like George has got the spring and the power. We got Matt McCreary over as well, which is just an amazing thing to have him over. It was like we wanted him there from the beginning, but he had some work commitments, and I think he was over in France at the time. So I started like the Matt McCreary fund like at the beginning of the tour, being like, guys, we need to get Matt with us. Do you think we should? I was like, because at this point, like I was like on zero money, so I was just like, does anybody want to chip in and get Matt over? And then in the end, I think me and Chris just decided it was the right thing to do, so we ended up getting him, and he like joined us for the London leg of the tour. And yeah, it was just brilliant to have someone of Matt's level as well with us, and the sort of the creative movement that he comes up with as well. It's just nice to have that balance of athletes and everybody just feeding off that energy and bringing something different, and the right mix of personalities as well. It was nice towards the end of the tour that people started to get used to the camera being there. I think at the beginning, people are a bit like, "Oh, you're filming me now? Are you? Oh, right, okay." But towards the end, everybody loosened up, and you start to get a real sense of people's personalities, which is just great to see, for sure.
I love that. Yeah, the dynamics. I'm very curious to see like how some of these guys, I know everyone like more or less has interacted, but you know, there's a difference when you're actually on that journey together. And like, that's going to be really cool to see. Can we talk about a little bit, you know, just, you know, where we're headed, you know, where, you know, this film is another step towards, you know, you mentioned the just ecosystem, you know, that we can help parkour just really expand and thrive and help these athletes get, you know, I'm sure it's a big topic in the film, just get more of the freedom to really practice and push themselves and live this lifestyle.
Man.
So I was just
absolutely. For me, I've always just wanted to create opportunities. I've always been passionate about young people and seeing people do stuff that they love and believe in, and to be able to build a future from that. And I feel like for me, I'm just super passionate about that. That's what I want to do. Like in the same way Chris felt like this is his gift back to the community. I feel like the position that I'm in, I was the one that was able to make this thing happen. I knew each of those individuals, and I was able to get Chris and Hector and Danny and get everybody involved in this project. And the goal for me was always to create that money ecosystem. And I talk about it a little bit in the film. Obviously, at this particular point, we're not right there, but we're going in the right direction. And I think for me and Chris, we've had conversations afterwards and stuff, and obviously we've learned a lot from doing this project. I think there's a lot we wouldn't do. There's a lot we would do next time around. And I think we've like got wisdom through this project. And I think, I don't know about Chris, but obviously the fire's still burning in me, and I'm still passionate and still want to just push this. And I'm ready to do the next one. Obviously, workload wise, like Chris is probably already thinking, oh shit. But it's one of those things. It's like, I think already Chris is like, yeah, this is something that I want to do. And I think we've had talks about how we want to like set more of a business up around it, kind of thing. And obviously we've called it Breach Productions and stuff like that. And we definitely want to work on more projects moving forwards. And yeah, just excited. One thing is I've seen the film maybe 16 times. I was telling Chris this, he laughs every time I tell him, but I've watched it 75 minutes long, and I've watched the whole thing 16 times, man. And I still get to the end of the film and go, I want more. So if that's happening to me, like I know for damn sure anybody who's watching it is going to get to the end and go, I want more. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, we want to just deliver that. Basically, we want to fulfill that need. And I think from conversations with the guys that have been involved, George and Ed and people like that, they've all come up to me and just said, you tell us when you're doing the next one, and we're 100% down to do it again. So yeah, man, let's keep doing it, man. Let's allow this to be the start of something great. Let's get more athletes involved, depending on what travel restrictions do. Let's do Europe. Let's do North America. I don't know, man. The possibilities are endless with it, really, aren't they? But obviously, it's all dependent on how much support we get from the community, really, whether they truly get behind this film and give up their hard-earned cash, like you said at the beginning. If they get behind it in the way that we know that they can, then there's no reason why we can't do this again next year or the year after, or whenever we decide to do it again, for sure.
100%. I the older I get, the more I realize just how much it means to really just keep supporting, these brands and these projects when they come out, especially because they are just mad effort, and it can keep us going just to get that extra support. And yeah, I'm so excited. So I'm definitely going to be on it. I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm guessing breach.com, and then I don't know if like there's a counter right now, or if there's like what's the hour that it goes live, but I'm going to be right in front of that thing with my credit card because I'm pumped, man. And
Go on, Brandon.
Yeah, man. I'm really excited for something like this to be coming out, especially so soon. And it's kind of we have some big projects coming out, but we haven't had a big paid one, since I guess I don't know. I can't remember all of them. I'm sure like there's some that I haven't kept track of, but it's been a minute since we've, as a community, felt like we've wanted to put something out of this magnitude. So
yeah, that's it, man. And I feel like just at this particular time in the world, in all of time, I think it's needed, man. I think it's going to give people a bit of hope, and it's going to spare people on. And I know for a fact that people are going to watch this. Obviously, everybody who's in Eindhoven, gathering in Eindhoven right now for Own the Spot's actually going to get an early screening tomorrow.
Oh, sick.
Which Chris hates, by the way, because it just means that he's got one day less basically to get things ready. But that's going to be a great opportunity. And I know that everybody's going to sit down, watch that film, and they're going to be training at Own the Spot the following day. So they're going to be full of inspiration and just raring to go, man. And that's what we want to do, man. We just want to inspire people and get people pumped up to get out there and training and to do their own projects as well, man. Like, don't just be brave with it. You know what I mean? We were bold in what we did, and we stepped out. And from a financial perspective, for me, it was a difficult one, really, because I kind of had like this amount of money, and I was like, what can I do with this? It was like right in the middle of the pandemic. I was like, I could either bring out a line of clothing and just push some promotion behind that and just keep the brand going and things like that. But I just had this desire to do this film. So for me, it was a bit of a roll of the dice. Obviously, we brought out the tour t-shirts and people supported us and bought the tour t-shirt, which was enabled us to get the vans and things like that, which we were able to travel around. But obviously, I put a lot of money into this. Even Chris has invested in this thing as well. So it's been a bit of a difficult year, and I think that's one of the reasons why I keep pushing it, because I just need that. I need to see something from it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there's been like this balance, but I just think it's worth it, man. Like, even though it's been a difficult year financially, it's been worth it. Just one, for the experience of just joining with those guys for 10 days and going on that journey. But two, to actually be 2 days away from the finished product, from the finish line, to actually showing the world what we've done, man. It's 100% worth it, man, for sure.
Yeah, I can't add to that. It's just awesome. Is there anything that you want to say about like what sets this movie apart, or what's the original like just contribution that you feel like is making this movie just different from any other?
Yeah, so for me personally, it's not being restricted to just one team of people. Like, whereas every other project that I can think of that's come before this one has been one team. They just stay in that core and they create a product and they put it out. Whereas this was as close to community as we could get it. It was just, you know yourself, if you go to a jam and you go to a gathering, obviously you're not going to get motors just stuck together like that. You're not going to get like team fat just stuck together. Everybody just trains with absolutely everybody, and that was the key thing for me, really, was just to break down those boundaries with this project, and everybody knows that that's what the community is like. Everybody knows you can go to a jam and you can meet the Sora guys, and I know for people that haven't met them, like if you meet them in person, that's who they are. That they want to train with you just as much as you want to train with them, and that's the community that we come from, and that's what we tried to show with this film. It was just about breaking down those boundaries of having these affiliations and these individual team projects. We wanted to just do something that incorporated everybody, really, and I think Sora put it pretty well. It's a UK throwdown, and that's what it feels like for me. It was obviously, for the longest time now, it kind of has felt like UK has been the capital of where a lot of the best athletes are coming from. Like, all the eyes are towards the YouTube videos and the content that's coming out of the UK. And this is just an opportunity for us to just put some of the spots on the map and put some of these people on the map as well, and just be like, yo, this is what we got, man.
Chris, I was going to ask you the same question. Just what do you feel like sets this one apart from things that you've seen come out in the parkour world, and obviously your own maybe commercial work?
Yeah, of course. Like, I don't want to sound like really patriotic, because I'm not, but it's something that's like really raw and English, like from the UK, like just from the way that we chose like the soundtrack, like humor, just like the themes, like that was something we were really keen to like really get across. And we did do an early screening. I think Dom said in his interview that it was like really reminiscent of that. So the fact that someone from the complete opposite side of the world thinks it feels, and it says England, it feels like that. That was something that I was really pleased, because that's what we wanted to achieve. But yeah, I think in terms of my like corporate work and stuff, like I think it's everything I'd want to see in a video. Do you know what I mean? It's like with Instagram, what people's attention spans are like now. we kept that in mind, and we are just constantly feeding people like new information constantly. Like it never gets dull. Like as soon as the action ends, there's like a comedy part or it goes into some animation. Like there's never like any dull moment. So, you know, I'm hoping people get to the end of it and they're like, wow, like 75 minutes just gonna fly. Like that was a trip. Like that's what we want people to do. So yeah, really
Heck yeah. No, man, I can't wait. It sounds like there's just so much behind it. Yeah, I mean, there was lots of great little quotes in the trailer, and it sounds like just people are raving about it. Where are we going to find it when it does come live? It looks like it's
going to be
so no one misses
Vimeo,
it.
Vimeo on demand. So I think when the channel goes live, it'll enable us to share the link basically. So we'll probably be putting it live probably midday on Saturday. So the channel's up, and then the video will go live at 6 p.m. UK time. So I think it's about 1 p.m. Eastern time over in the US. So at that particular point, we'll just have the link up everywhere. I'm going to create like a template for the guys to share on their story. I think Instagram's changed. They don't do the swipe up anymore. I think it's just a little button for a link now. So yeah, I'm just going to give everybody like a slate that they can put on their stories that they can just neatly put the link on there and people could just click through from there. So so look out for that on Saturday the 25th, 2 days time. I don't know when this video is gonna.
I'm gonna drop this evening. I think I'm gonna just get right into it. You know, inspired by Chris's work here, I'm gonna turn around, get the editing. I only have to chop like 2 clips together and sync some audio, so I got easy work in front of me.
Nice, man.
But yeah, man. Yeah, Enter the Breach. Like, what else can we say? I appreciate you guys, you know, giving some time, especially, you know, with everything you got going on right up until this release. And I'm just really, really excited to watch this film and share it around the community.
Fantastic, man. And guys, for everybody watching, I hope you enjoy it. Make sure you share it about, talk about it, leave us a review, a comment on the channel, and just let us know. We're happy to have any feedback that you've got to give about it. And yeah, we just hope you guys enjoy it.
Perfect. Woo, boy, there it was, episode 101. Thank you guys for being a part of it. Big thanks to Chris ILABACA and Chris Thompson for their contribution to this conversation and sharing their time with us. Check out the film. All the links will be in the description, although they won't technically be live until it's time. So stay subscribed and tuned in to Breach and their channels and the athletes in the film, and you will know where to go when the film is released. Much love to everyone who listens. Thank you. If you have any feedback, you can send it to me directly. You know how to use the internet. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.